There is a hero in Greek mythology who was born under a death sentence. Before he took his first breath, a king had already decided he needed to die. His mother was locked in a bronze tower to prevent him from existing at all. He was sent, as a young man, on a mission specifically designed to be unsurvivable, to bring back the head of the only creature in the world whose gaze turned living flesh to stone. He had no army, no experience, and no weapons. He succeeded. He killed a monster, rescued a princess from a sea creature, freed her from a king who wanted her as a prize, turned his enemies to stone with the very head he had been sent to collect, and saved his mother from the man who had been tormenting her. Perseus is one of the great hero myths of the ancient world, and it is told with the clarity and momentum of a story that knew exactly what it was from the very beginning. Welcome back to Mythos Uncovered, and today we are covering a hero whose story shaped the template for countless tales of heroism that came after it. A young man with impossible odds, divine gifts, and a destiny written before his birth. Let's get into it. Perseus was the son of Zeus and a mortal woman named Danae. Danae was the daughter of Acrisius, king of Argos, and Acrisius had received a prophecy that destroyed his peace of mind entirely. His daughter's son would one day kill him. His solution was to lock Danae in a bronze tower or underground chamber, completely sealed from the outside world, so that she could never have a child. Zeus, who was not deterred by architecture, visited her as a shower of golden light, and Danae became pregnant. When Acrisius discovered his daughter had given birth to a son, he did not kill them directly, perhaps out of fear of divine punishment for the murder of his own blood. But he sealed them both in a wooden chest and threw it into the sea. The chest washed ashore on the island of Seriphos, where it was found by a fisherman named Dictys, who took Danae and the infant Perseus in and raised the boy as his own. Perseus grew up on the island, strong and capable, under the protection of Dictys. The trouble came from Dictys's brother, Polydex, who was the king of Seriphos and who wanted Danae for himself. Perseus stood in the way. He was old enough now to protect his mother and young enough to be disposed of if a suitable method could be arranged. Polydex announced he was to be married and demanded gifts from everyone on the island, knowing Perseus was too poor to provide anything of value. Perseus, proud and reckless in the way of young men in Greek mythology, declared he would bring whatever gift was asked of him, even the head of Medusa if that was what the king desired. Polydex immediately said that was exactly what he desired. The trap closed. Medusa was one of three sisters known as the Gorgons. Her sisters Stheno and Uriel were immortal. Medusa was not, which was the only reason killing her was theoretically possible. She had once been a beautiful woman. Some versions of her myth say she was a priestess of Athena, and that her transformation into a creature with serpents for hair and a gaze that petrified anyone who met it was a punishment from Athena, though the reasons for that punishment vary across different sources. By the time of Perseus's quest, she lived at the edge of the known world with her sisters, and the landscape around her lair was littered with the stone statues of men who had gone to kill her and met her eyes instead. Perseus had no idea how to find her, let alone how to kill her, but the gods intervened. Athena and Hermes both came to him with guidance and gifts. Hermes gave him a curved sword sharp enough to cut through the Gorgon scales. Athena gave him a polished shield so bright it functioned as a mirror. They directed him first to the Graeae, three ancient sisters who shared a single eye and a single tooth between them, passing them back and forth as needed. Perseus intercepted the eye as it was being passed between them, held it hostage, and refused to return it until the Graeae told him what he needed to know: the location of the nymphs who held the equipment he required for the quest. The nymphs gave him 3 items: winged sandals that allowed him to fly, a magical bag called a kibyssus that could safely contain the Gorgon's head without turning the carrier to stone, and the helm of darkness, the same helmet of invisibility that Hades had used during the Titanomachy. Armed with all of this, he flew to the land of the Gorgons, found Medusa sleeping and used Athena's mirrored shield to approach her without ever meeting her eyes directly. He kept his gaze on her reflection. He swung the sword Hermes had given him and cut off her head, placed it in the kibyssus without looking at it, and flew away before her immortal sisters could catch him. From Medusa's severed neck, two creatures were born in that moment. The winged horse Pegasus and the giant warrior Chrysaor sprung from her blood. Perseus did not stop for either of them. He had a head in a bag and a king to deal with. Hey, quick pause right here. If you're enjoying this, please hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. It genuinely helps this channel grow and means more myths, more stories, more uncovering. All right, back to Perseus. On his way home, Perseus passed over the coast of Ethiopia and saw something extraordinary below him. A young woman chained to a rock at the edge of the sea, alone, with waves crashing around her. Her name was Andromeda. Her mother, Queen Cassiopeia, had boasted that her daughter was more beautiful than the Nereids. The sea nymphs and Poseidon had sent a sea monster called Cetus to ravage the coast in punishment. The oracle had told the king of Ethiopia that only the sacrifice of his daughter would appease it. Andromeda had been chained to the rock and left there to be devoured. Perseus landed beside her, heard the story, and made a deal with her parents. He would kill the monster in exchange for Andromeda's hand in marriage. They agreed. Cetus rose from the sea and Perseus killed it, some versions say with his sword, others with Medusa's head turned on the creature directly. He freed Andromeda, married her on the spot, and then had to fight off her previous betrothed, a man named Phineus who arrived with an army to claim her back. Perseus produced Medusa's head. Phineus and his men looked at it, and the hall filled with stone statues. The problem resolved itself. He returned to Seriphos to find that Polydectes had been pursuing his mother relentlessly, and that Danae had taken refuge at the altar of a god to escape him. Perseus went to Polydectes and his court and showed them Medusa's head. Polydectes became the most impressive piece of garden statuary on the island. Dictys, the good fisherman who had rescued them, was made king in his place. Justice, in the Perseus myth, is delivered with a thoroughness that is deeply satisfying. Perseus returned the divine gifts he had borrowed: the sandals, the kibyssus, the helm of darkness, and gave Medusa's head to Athena, who placed it on her shield as the Gorgonion, where it remained as a protective emblem for all of antiquity. Then he took his mother and Andromeda and went back to Greece to find his grandfather Acrisius, the man who had put them both in a chest and thrown them into the sea. He did not find him in Argos. Acrisius, having heard that his grandson was alive and returning, had fled to Larissa, a city in Thessaly. Perseus, competing in athletic games at Larissa, threw a discus. The wind caught it. It veered into the crowd and struck an old man in the head and killed him. The old man was Acrisius. The prophecy fulfilled itself with the quiet indifference that Greek fate always displayed, not through violence or revenge or dramatic confrontation, but through an accident, a gust of wind, a discus thrown in the wrong direction at the wrong moment. Perseus became king of Tyrans and later founded the city of Mycena, one of the great centers of the Bronze Age world that archaeologists would later excavate and find to be genuinely ancient. He and Andromeda had many children and ruled long and well. When they died, Zeus placed them among the stars, and the constellation Perseus stands in the night sky with the head of Medusa still in his hand. The star Algol, which appears to pulse and dim in a regular cycle, was known to ancient astronomers as the demon star. The eye of the Gorgon, still flickering in the darkness after all this time. So, Perseus, a hero whose story moves with the clean momentum of inevitability, where every gift given is used and every wrong is answered and every prophecy lands exactly where it was always going to land. A young man thrown into the sea in a chest who ended up in the stars. The myths always have more in them than we first think. That's why we're here. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Mythos Uncovered. It genuinely means a lot that you spend your time here with me diving into these ancient stories. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. And if you're not subscribed yet, subscribe now and hit the bell so you never miss a new myth. And drop a comment below telling me what myth or legend you want me to cover next. Every single comment gets read, and the next video might just come from you. I'll see you in the next one.